I think that as a pianist, I always felt like such pressure, like not pressure, but there's this kind of, you see that like this idea that you're a university professor, right? But there's this big expectation that you're a performer. And so you're performing and somehow in order to get like high level performances or to be taken seriously by like concert promoters, you have to kind of downplay your teaching
Mm.
because that'll make you look less serious to like somebody who's running a festival or something. They'll just be like, well, and so I noticed, like, I had a kind of epiphany. It wasn't an epiphany like what you were saying, but I did realize around, like, shortly before I started this YouTube channel that, like, wait a second, here I am with a website, kateboyd.com, my performances, my this, my that. But the fact of the matter is, if I, and I've, the whole 10,000 hours rule, it's like, yeah, okay, I've put in my 10,000 hours on the piano. I get it. Um, but I've also probably put in 10,000 hours of teaching.
Yeah.
And I was like, and that is completely somehow, even though what I like my day job is that I engage students and kind of I cram the practicing in like after this it's 8:15 at night. I'm going to practice, right?
Right.
So when do I practice? I don't like practice all day and then teach just a few students. That's like, that doesn't happen anymore. And so I was like, oh, so my website is a calling card, but really what's interesting to people is what can I teach them? Not who am I? They're going to be like, I'm going to go on YouTube, I'm going to find how to do this rotation thing or whatever. And then, like, oh, who was that anyway? What else can I learn from them? And that's how you can kind of gain, like, become known, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
No, it does. It
And
does.
so, but I mean, it wasn't like I was looking for fame or something, but I want to, like, part of the other reason I started my YouTube channel is because I say a lot of the same technical things to multiple students. And so I was like, if I just say it once and I have a video and then I can refer students to it and then take it from there.
Yeah.
And that has been very effective. I have to tell you that, like, sometimes I'll be in a lesson, I'll say, hey, you should check out this video I made about the thumb. And then they do, and they come back. Some of them, like, they take notes and they're like, oh yeah. And then we apply it. And it's just like, it's super helpful.
Yeah.
So
And I mean, it's fair game to say, for instance, why should I be taken less seriously as a performer because I teach? And that's just
yeah.
one of the uncomfortable realities of people expecting specialization. I mean,
And also, the other flip side of that is how can you expect somebody who teaches all day to be a concert pianist? Like,
yeah,
right? Like, how is that reasonable? And so if you're putting yourself out there and you're excising what you actually do during like all the teaching you're doing,
right.
then it's like, well, then you're being judged like compared to people who just like travel around the world and play concerts. And that's like not, that's not what I do. Like, I mean, I do play concerts. I'm about to go play a bunch of solo recitals and stuff, but it's not, I am certainly not like, a little mini Kissin or something. And I just, didn't have the chance to like whatever, win whatever competition. It's a completely different, like, professional path.
Yeah.
And I feel like that path isn't really super visible. I feel like people have this idea like you're a concert pianist or you're a teacher. And I also noticed that on YouTube that there's just mostly dudes in the space. And so I felt like I needed to be a positive role model for like just young women or girls who are like, hey, I'm interested in this stuff too. I
Yeah.
don't want to just teach kids or whatever just
Hmm.
because I'm being kind of told those are my options or whatever. So okay, it took me a year after deciding to start the piano prof to upload my first video, because of just the overwhelming fear and imposter syndrome, and what are all my colleagues going to think, and they're going to
Yeah.
think I'm self-promoting, and self-promoting's bad, and I don't want to make it about me, but I also want to get this out there, and it has, so and I think for our generation, we're Gen X, right? It's not, we were trained like, be modest, don't self-promote, don't put yourself out there, because that looks bad, it's not good, right? But I think that's all gone now with the
Oh yeah, it
younger
sure is.
right,
No
right.
question about that.
Yeah, and so it's like learning to get to a certain comfort level with, like, you know what, nobody cares.